So we have Frank Gibeau from EA here, and he just finished his fireside chat. It's a very
no fire.
Yeah, exactly, but it was a good format. And so it was a very eclectic talk, and they touched on a lot of things. I think what people are interested in hearing is there's a lot of indie game developers here.
Right.
And you mentioned how at EA you're kind of getting away from a centralized sort of development platform to little teams. Could you tell us a little bit more about how you're kind of harboring those teams and how new IP is getting developed over at EA?
Sure, yeah. No, the basic idea is that I think that the best game ideas in the world come from small teams that are really free to explore new ideas, innovate in technology, concept, and gameplay, which is what the indie development community is all about.
Yep.
And so it's a little bit observing what they do and understanding them, but also at EA it's trying to make us move fast and be very innovative. And so what we do typically is we let teams go off for some period of time with a certain amount of funding to develop a prototype.
Yep.
And they come in, and then it's a lot like seeking funding like what developers do to try and get some money to finish their games. It feels that way in EA, and it's called the greenlight process.
Cool.
And so we have these different gates that guys go through, but it always starts with a small team of about 3, maybe 8 people that get together with a core set of technology. They build around a concept and a gameplay mechanic, and they bring it forward for consideration.
And so are these always EA employees, or sometimes are these external third-party developers that you have relationships with, or who
Most
are
of the time it's
teams?
EA employees, but we have different parts of EA, like EA Partners and Chilingo, that are available to the independent development community to come forward and show their ideas. There's been plenty of examples of where companies have come into EA through that.
Cool. And so, because of so many different games you guys have, shooters, sports, and everything, is there a balanced focus of what kind of games you're trying to develop as far as new IP goes, or do you guys kind of split your resources based on your market, or how do you guys decide what you're going to be developing?
It largely starts at a studio level. So PopCap or BioWare or DICE or Criterion or EA Sports thinks about a new IP that they want to build, and then we look at it and how it comes together in terms of the overall company. But in general, I don't try and say, hey, we need a game in 2017 in the action
sports,
category.
yeah, okay, cool.
That always fails.
Yeah.
So it's better to somebody steps forward and says, you know what, I really want to tell a story about X, and it would be really cool, and here's why, and then we start there and then we see how it unfolds.
Yep. And now the other thing you touched on I thought that was interesting, and I totally agree with, is that you're saying how the ecosystem is becoming the new driver, not so much the hardware. And could you talk a little bit more about what EA is doing to get into that space and sort of kind of take control where you can?
Yeah, I mean, ecosystems are defined by how many people are in it, what types of relationships that you have with them inside that ecosystem, and then how it evolves over time. So Amazon has an ecosystem, Apple, Microsoft with Xbox Live, and EA is building one too, and it's based on gaming. And it's based on being able to provide games to you from our IP portfolio, but across multiple platforms and making them talk all together. We're the only company in the world that can really get a Microsoft game, something on Amazon, as well as something on the World Wide Web to talk to each other through the same user account and in the same relationship with us. And so that's the competitive advantage we believe that we have, is that diversity of IP combined with the diversity of platforms that you have in your life and making them all feel seamless and ubiquitous to you.
Cool. So one final question.
Sure.
What's the most exciting development you've seen in gaming in the past year? What do you think really changed, or maybe the past few years? What's been the real cornerstone of development and making everybody kind of try to catch up?
I think one of the things that has been most exciting in our business is how console games have evolved into becoming live services, and how their lifetime, how long they live, and how many people stay engaged with the game over very long periods of time is really fascinating. You look at Battlefield 3, we had as many people playing it now as we did at Christmas. FIFA, the engagement, the number of people that play grows over the season. And last week we just launched Madden Football, where we brought in this new thing called Madden Ultimate Team, which is all online stuff, and the engagement stuff is off the charts. It's really healthy and good for the console businesses to have that online services component, because it allows us to build more games and keep the content coming to the people that love those franchises.
And then everybody gets more replay value and everyone's happy.
Yeah, cool. Exactly.
All right, well, thanks a lot for your time. I appreciate it. I hope you had a good conference, and we look forward to seeing you
It was great. I hope
next
everybody
year.
has a really good time.
Cool. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Appreciate it.
All right, bye-bye.